Beats of the proletariat. Okay.
I'm here for the people. I'm here for the people. I'm here for the people. I'm Friedrich Engels. I'm here for the people. I'm the Steve Wozniak of communism.
Bandicoot / communism beat. Okay. So here's the part of the song where we get down to the straight facts as laid down in the manifesto. Yaco correcto, you say I'm the best, nothing to say on the topic of communism is the left side of the political spectrum that we are sitting on, and nobody is keeping it going in practice. Problem number one, American imperialism. Okay, if you look at everything the CIA has done throughout history, they've constantly made efforts to undermine the establishment of leftist democratic governments in entire continents like South America. We're talking Chile, Argentina, Venezuela, many more. Vietnam, the whole Vietnam War was fought as a proxy war because they didn't want to allow the Soviet state, which is the main champion of communism ideologically speaking throughout the Cold War, to gain a foothold in the global power economy. Fact number two. There's three different types of communism, okay? You can implement it in a bunch of different ways, and a lot of people choose to do things differently. But there's the kind that the Soviets did, which is where you make it bureaucratic and you make it part of government. But the facts ain't nothing like that, cause that whole system is really prone to corruption. But then what do we do? Another thing, you could do it in a capitalist way, but I'm referring now strictly to socialism, where you do sort of how like social programs are implemented in democratic capitalist societies, where you have like separate organizations that are their own financially governed bodies, which are contracted out to the government, right? So the government's not directly exerting control, and so you're kind of allegedly, you're free from that same kind of corruptive influences in the Soviet kind of communism, which we know didn't work. But the problem with that is the same problem that everything is going on with capitalism, which is, money rules, it's profit maximization, everybody needs to keep a roof over their heads, everybody gets greedy after a while, and then the original ideological purpose of the shit kind of gets diluted, so what's the purpose, you know what I'm saying? And then that goes to shit the same way you're seeing the American empire decline right now, which is not... Okay, point number 3. This is the third kind of socialist / communistic policy you can implement in government, and it's the craziest one, and it's the one that a lot of people have actively propagandized against folks from waking up to the fact that we can do, because people think it's a democracy, it has to be capitalist, right? Because capital is all-subsuming, but here's the facts, right? The third kind of communism, the third kind of socialism that works, it's worker-based type shit, you know what I'm saying? It's true commune. It's every worker on the board of directors. Every worker has a vote. Things are decided at the ground level by community, and if the majority of people do not directly agree that that's the way that we should be going, it's not the way that we're doing things, right? Look, and you always need structure. You always need some people in a little bit of hierarchical positioning, which is where the problems with most ideologies come in anyway, in order to make things work, you do need people to kind of, run things and organize and execute and all that. But really, the worker-based socialism, it's a thing that hasn't really been tried that much. We're talking UBI, we're talking, we're less money funding for the police because, why do you need to have a fucking gang of thugs do it? But that's a whole other thing. The police pretty much exist just to protect the interests of private property holders. You can look up the Pinkertons in the United States and their history of union busting, but that's a whole other thing. Okay, so back to the socialism thing, the communism thing, the leftism thing. Every worker a member of the board, everybody has a vote that's equal, nobody is above their fellow man, and we're all looking out for each other, right? Because you're not going to commit a crime if you live in a community and you know everybody, right? You want each other to come up together, and that's what we're invested in. We're talking about large-scale agriculture, we're talking about the return of city-states like we had in ancient Greece, so we can sort of use them as if you want to say incubators for those in the tech field, we can use those city-states like incubators for new forms of kind of government to just keep cooking, see what works at a municipal level, see what doesn't, because as we know, at the municipal level of politics is the one at which your average voter's vote actually goes the farthest in a democracy anyway, because there's so much corruption at this point. Lobbyists, multinational corporations have had so much more power than, any government in the world since the 1980s. We live in a globalized corporate technocracy, but how we get around that is small-scale city-states. And we do need central organization, but it's got to be something where everybody's participating. And I know that kind of falls apart at the high level, but damn it, why can't we dream for a better world? Ah! Yes, we are building it for the people. 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 Yes, we dream for a better tomorrow. Today, you might as well start yesterday, but the second best time is right fucking now. Okay, so that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing with communism and socialism and the problems and practices related to its implementation and all that jazz.